I really
Awesome.
don't feel like it's much different. Either way, I'm going to. It's a furnished space. I'm When they leave, I'm going to reset it. You know, like it was before. So whatever they did with the property, they move furniture around. If it's a little dirty, yeah, people are going to live how they live. But I'm going to reset the property and get it ready for the next person. Um, Hopefully, it's not damaged too bad.
So where do you find your midterm tenants from? So what's your strategy to find? Because there's a lot of buzzword going on about midterm rentals. A lot of
Yes,
people they want to do it, but they don't understand the midterm rental market.
midterm rentals. If you're looking for someone, and midterm, I'm going to define that as 30 days or more, right? If you want somebody that's going to stay in your property for 30 days or more, first place I would go is Furnished Finders, a website called furnishedfinders.com. I would go there. Airbnb is also an option. You can create a listing that is 30 days or more. I would try to leave some time for someone further out to book the 30-day stay. And the closer you get to the beginning of the month, you want to shorten uh, the time you have to allow someone uh, that last minute person, all they're allowed to do is they can just book a 3-day stay, a minimum of a 3-day stay. And if they want, they can book more, but you want to book a minimum of 3 days.
The strategy that you're using is you have the same space setup, which you're using for short-term and midterm rental at the same time. And the way that you do is if somebody is booking far out and you are doing this staggered, booking or stay restrictions period, if somebody is booking far out, they have to book a minimum of 30 nights. But if your place is not rented enough, right, or you have that
Gap, a big
in the
gap.
gap in between the bookings, that's when you are capitalizing on the short-term rental side and you're saying, you know what, I'm available, this property is available, let me maximize my revenue. So I'm going to allow a shorter stay. So for
Correct.
example, if it's within 30 nights, then you say, okay, you know what? It's gonna be the minimum stay is like 7 days. But if it's within 14 days, then you come down to maybe 5 nights. And if it's within like 5 nights, then you say, okay, the minimum stay now is two nights or 3 nights. So that way you're capitalizing on that potential to maximize the revenue, uh, including a mixture of the short term and midterm. And that's the strategy I
Correct.
wanted because you do it great with this strategy.
Correct. Correct. Yeah, and I find that works for me. The idea is just not to have a short stay in the middle of your month, or to allow someone to block someone with a larger stay to book your place and block your calendar. Another strategy I have, I'll give you another tip, is I will create two listings. One is strictly 28 days, and the other one is the staggered option. But somebody that is looking for a longer stay, they will always find that on my monthly listing. And then I decide whether I want cancel on the smaller stay. I just kind of, we can either move them, or I might find another place to put them. It also helps if you have multiple uh, properties within the same area.
You might have somebody who's looking to rent your space today for next 30 days. So with this double listing, you have opened up that option for
Correct.
them. Whereas you might, for the other listing for the same space, you might have somebody who's just going to come for 2 nights, right? And that is kind of blocking your calendar. So that's really smart. So as we kind of get on to the next segment of this discussion, tell us about. So you have learned a lot, you have made a lot of mistakes, but at the same time, you have found a lot of success doing this thing, right? From your personal takeaway, what are the do's and don'ts that you would advise to the listeners?
Well, all right, first thing I would do is, if you want to talk about personal life, you have to make sure that you and your spouse are on the same page. It's very hard to do this life if you don't have both of you guys going in the same direction, or one person doesn't have faith, or doesn't believe that it's for the betterment of the family. Um, that's number one. It just makes things a whole of a lot easier. Other thing is, don't get divorced. When you do get divorced, that also, and you own real estate, it complicates things a lot. So you might have built a big empire, but you're probably going to lose half of it or more. And I know a lot of time we say we want this passive income because we want to spend more time with the family, but in reality, it doesn't happen that way. You end up working more hours a lot of times. I don't even feel like it's work. It's just life.
Yeah, you don't feel like it because it's the purpose that you were looking for. This is something that you wanted to do,
Right.
and that kind of ties into that bigger life thing, right? So this is what you feel like. I mean, even though you're putting in more hours, it still doesn't feel like it, and that's where your
Right.
life
Right.
is fulfilled with what you're doing.
Right.
And real estate is passive in the sense where it gives you the flexibility, but you still have to watch for your investments. You have to still check if your properties are doing good, or if a tenant or the guest tells you there's a maintenance issue, you still need to send somebody. It's not that you have to do it, but you still have to coordinate it if you're managing a
Right.
property yourself.
Absolutely.
And anytime you're bringing in a guest or a tenant, you still need to screen them properly to make sure that they don't do damages, because as rewarding it could be, you could lose a lot of money at the same time.
You do lose a lot of money every time you have the tenant turnover. So the thing is, try to keep your tenants as long as possible. Keep them happy. Of course, life is going to happen, right? Tenants, okay, you might think you've gotten a good tenant, but they could also go through life events. They might lose a job. Their family might grow, so they need bigger space. So you can't help that. But uh, just remember, keep in mind, your biggest expense is when you have a tenant turnover. So try to keep that long-term tenant in that property as long as possible.
So, how do you see yourself from here? So, 10 years from today, where do you see yourself, or what would be your strategy going forward?
My long-term view is to have multiple properties in different locations. We just built a house in Jamaica, which we plan to Airbnb or short-term or midterm stay, whatever. It's going to be so. My plan is, if well, my optimal plan would be if we can have a property in different places that I like to vacation. And then, as the weather changes, it gets a little cold here, we can go to Jamaica, or we can go to Florida, or we can go to South Carolina, or who knows where else, where else we decide we're going to be. But just buy a property somewhere where you would want to live, even if you live just temporarily.
So, Rod, for people who would like to contact you and they would like to find you, how can they reach out to you?
You can always find me at rtjrentals@gmail.com, or look me up on Bigger Pockets.
All right, awesome, great. Well, Rod, we really appreciate your time, and it was really great talking to you. We hope to bring you more discussions like this where we talk more about bigger life, both in the sense of real estate and also how you can uh, invest with real estate and make your life bigger, better, more enjoyable, and more fun. Thank you. Thanks.